How you doing, guys? Good morning. My name is Christian Calabrese. We are Wild and Lovely. I'm the lovely side. Um, it's always a joke I give. Sorry, it's really early. Um, but yes, we are Wild and Lovely. Essentially, who we are, which I feel like is a question we get a lot of the times. Um, who Wild and Lovely really is, aside from what we just do. Um, we do a little bit of everything, honestly. We are team do too much, right? We always like to go the extra mile. Even this morning, we kind of racked our brains on like how to set up looking nice up here aesthetically. Um, but yeah, for us, we are just very heavily drawn to aesthetics. Um, we are cultivators and collaborators of creativity. We really do like to work with people who really have a strong purpose and a real story behind what it is that they're trying to do, aside from just trying to just throw an event or throw a party. Really tell a story. For us, that's really what it's all about. Um, I would also like to just really quickly just give a shout out to COVID for kind of helping us
Minus the
have a,
death.
right, minus all the other bad things about it. But other than that, it really gave us the time to figure out what it is that we were doing creatively. We were both coming from New York. I was trying to do the New York thing and do my hat making, just solely hat making, nothing else, in my one little closet apartment, almost $2,000, roaches and rats and the New York thing. Um, but it definitely helped us find who we are and what we're doing now. And Philadelphia, in a lot of ways, actually helped us create that vision. So, really quickly, I just want to talk about, I guess, my piece, my half, which is the wild side of it. No pun intended. But for me, I'm just a creative of all things. Mainly, it's fashion. Started off with styling. Did a lot of styling in New York City. And a lot of people that I worked for, a lot of clients, were really trying to integrate, hats and different things. And I'm always trying to advance what it is that I do. And part of that was me kind of discovering, hats and chapeaus, as they call it. And kind of fell in love with it. It's a really cool old art art form. Just the concept of it is pretty amazing. Um, for anybody who is interested in it, afterwards you come talk to me. We do workshops as well, classes, things of that nature. But um, Wild and Lovely, yeah. We really just like to really showcase what it is that we do, and truly be able to portray the story for whatever it is that we're hired for. So we've done weddings, private events, we've done dinners, galas, you name it, we've done it. We've done a lot of editorials. If anybody had the chance to pick up the magazine in front, we were featured in that one. That was our first magazine that we were featured on, which was pretty amazing. Um, my wife, she did the florals. A few of my hats were actually featured in there, which is pretty cool. So it's just been very exciting to be able to do what it is that we do. What I do and what my wife does are two very separate things, but in a lot of ways they coincide, which kind of creates these various layers to what we do, especially as creatives. I feel like nowadays people who call themselves creators are not just one thing. They like to dabble in so many other types of things, just creatively. They just like to create, and we are definitely those people. We do not like to cap ourselves and put ourselves into one genre, really, because creativity is it's kind of endless. There's a broad spectrum of what creativity really is, right? So I feel like nowadays creativity is at an all-time high. A lot of people aren't really calling themselves, artists or painters or photographers. They call themselves creatives. In Philadelphia, I think the amount of photographers slash DJs that we know. I feel like it's like a common thing in Philadelphia. You know, like everybody's a DJ slash photographer. My wife is also messing around and DJing as well. So, sorry. But yeah, a lot of layers to who we are. Sorry, I'm going over my part, but I'm going to hand it over to Liana, and she's going to talk about her piece.
Do I push this?
You're good.
Okay. Hi, I'm Liana Vasquez Calabrese, the lovely part of Wilde and Lovely. Born and raised in New York. Wow, born and raised in Philly. I'm so sorry. Go Birds.
I was about to say, all right.
Lived in New York before the pandemic for about like 6 years. Did corporate life in New York and then met Christian and I started dabbling into the creative realm in New York City, and doing florals was kind of just a hobby for me, to basically buy myself my own flowers. And you know, living in the concrete jungle, you kind of have to do things like that to keep sane. And then I started falling in love in the process of like drying flowers. So again, my little box apartment in New York was covered in flowers. And then it got to a point where like friends were like, oh, this is cool, I want this and I'll pay you for this. And I was like, okay, that's cute. Didn't know that this could be a thing. Yeah, and COVID happened. This is actually one of our little COVID projects. They're repurposed silverware and we turned them into magnets and then put flowers inside so that people could put them on their refrigerators or anything magnetic. So yeah, COVID really was our incubator of all things creative now, and it really showed us like, do I really want to live corporate life the rest of my life? So started dabbling into the arts and just keeping it going. I got hired to do a private event, which was florals and sushi for Morimoto. That was amazing. And yeah, this is Philadelphia Wedding. So I had a lot of mentors when I moved to Philly during the pandemic, and they kind of just helped me on my path to floral design. I don't use floral, like, I don't use floral foam, and I try not to do anything that's gonna harm the environment, because the industry is very nasty, which is ironic because you're dealing with flowers. But I try to be sustainable as possible, so that's where he comes in and helps me with the mechanics of a lot of the floral installations, and just trying to stay away from anything that's toxic to people and the environment. A lot of hand-painted things. We do, again, private events. This was for a girl's birthday, and she wanted a whole altar, basically. And yeah, so that's my story. I'm here in Philly now, still doing florals, and we kind of now doing events and curations of art galleries, exhibits. I do a lot of floral designing for people who showcase their art in other museums, and they want like florals to just bring texture to their photos or anything like that. I do a lot of that. This was at PMA. We did a dinner, and this was kind of like the entryway of the dinner. So it was very like fall and very whimsical. We had a lot of, like, we love working with foods and stuff like that for tablescapes and all of that. A wedding that I did. And we do a lot of events in New York. It was just because we have a lot of connections there. This was for a 420 friendly and protest event called Puff in the Park in Brooklyn, and we did a whole set design for the stage and all of that, so that was really fun. And we've been doing that for the past like 4 years. This, I think, was the first year we did the set design for the DJ, and then we did a love letter to cannabis, so people were able to pull from the wall, and the paper that they had was plantable paper. So you kind of just write your intentions on the card and then go home, take the paper and plant it and watch it grow. So we do a lot of intentional things. Everything we do is not just doing it for fun, but there's always a why behind everything, and we try our best to have a purpose for everything, because I mean, what's the whole point of being on this earth if there's no purpose for things? We do product styling. A lot of our artwork is hand painted by us, palms, everything's real. I don't work with no fake flowers, none. Everything is real. And then we manipulate the colors by painting or anything like that. This was our first installation here in Philly with photographer Anthony Page. He's a very well-known wedding photographer. And the story behind this was Christian and I were getting married, and my grandfather had passed, and so did his grandfather, and so my grandmother as well. And we kind of wanted to do like a homage art in our wedding. So it's basically a seat for people who obviously physically can't be with us in the moment, but spiritually they're taking up space. And so we covered it in moss and hung flowers and all of that. So that was a fun shoot. And then Anthony saw it and he was like, "Can we photograph this?" And I was like, "Sure." And we did like a whole like cool engagement artsy photo shoot with him. That was really fun. This was a wedding. This was my sister's wedding. This was at Turan Gardens, and just a nice little fall installation. This was for Nike. This was a fun event. This was at Foreign Cafe. They hired us to do a floral activation. So basically they ran a couple of miles, and at the end they would meet at Foreign for like foods and drinks, and then we would have a bouquet bar, and the line was wrapped around the whole building. Everybody was coming to get their flowers. We partnered with All Caps Studio to design our wax paper for our florals, and it was a fun event. We just really love giving people their flowers. And we also, outside of floral designing, millinery, fashion the most. We have a boutique. We're also located in a lot of markets throughout the city, so you can catch us there. The products that we have, we do a lot of thrifted goods. We partner with a lot of local artists and international artists. So this is an artist called Blue Word. He's a spiritual rapper, artist, and we sell his prints for him. The bongs and all of that, the ashtrays, is an artist in Vietnam, and they actually are in the same article. We share the same article in that magazine. Their story is amazing. You guys should definitely read up on them. We get a lot of our goods from Colombia. That's where my husband's from. So the wallets, a lot of cowhide and, Western jibaro. Palo Santo we sell. We repurpose a lot of furniture as well. So coffee tables are like our thing. We just love coffee table aesthetics, coffee table books. So we literally found coffee tables around the city, and we're just like, let's flip them, and we flip them. So now we do that. We sell a lot of Navajo silver, again, vintage clothing as well, boots that we kind of just put our own spin to it. Christian hand painted those boots, and kind of just like to put our flair on things, and then people love them, so we sell them. And we've done, over the past 4 years, 4 years, we've done some pretty cool things. We've worked with a lot of, this is one of them, we partnered with C Philly and BWC Sounds.
We're hoping to do more of these this summer coming up,
Yeah.
so you guys definitely check out C Philly and BWC. They do a lot of, BWC does a lot of events throughout the city during the summertime. It's always a great time. And we actually discovered C Philly going to one of BWC's events.
So we did the floral design for that, and we curated the whole event. We did the guest list. We were very intentional of how many people on the boat, and this was kind of like a teaser for what's to come in the summertime.
Yeah.
And this is actually our first art collaboration with Super Poor Kids. They're located in Camden. They're amazing artists. They do a lot of murals. They do artwork on clothes, canvases, anything. We used to have a studio located in Crane Arts, and in that studio we would sell a lot of local artwork, and that was probably our first piece that we sold. It was actually, we collaborated with Super Poor Kids for a Don Julio event that we did at the W, and someone saw the piece at the event, was like, I want to buy this, and I was like, yeah, it's for sale. Yep. With no intention of selling it that night, but I went up to the artist. I was like, "Yo, your piece just sold." He was like, "Yeah." So that was like a moment for
start,
us.
yeah.
And then like installing it in the person's home in Philly, it was like truly like what we love to do is collaborate with other artists, but also like, you know, have people buy the art, because these people make a living off of it, and so do we. So that was fun. Services that we offer: custom hats, aesthetics for events, product styling, creative direction for any project that you have, for photo shoots, anything like that, floral installations, activations, clean outs, meaning if you have a house that you're like, I have so much stuff and don't know what to do with it, or you know people or that have a house and don't know what to do with it. And a lot of people don't understand that they sit on treasures. And we kind of just like to go in and be like, you know, you could sell that for like $3,000. And it's just collecting dust. So we do things like that, styling, curation of art exhibits or anything like that. We did a art exhibit at Trunk for an artist called Kachita. He's a local artist in Germantown. We curated his whole exhibit. It was beautiful. He sold a lot of pieces. And then we also do the most, because that is who we are.
Liana also curated her own exhibit.
Oh.
In the beginning of everything, she's modest about it, but it was probably one of the coolest shows. It was her first show, honestly, ever, and every single piece sold. I think that was like the beginning of like us wanting to like curate things of that nature.
It was at Tayeb, Puertorriqueño in North Philly. That was fun. And then we've been featured in a couple of magazines. Cool American, which is Christian styling. Broccoli, which is the magazine that you guys have. Visit Philly, Esquire, Baltimore Bride. Philly Fashion Week. It's mostly him. He was just doing Philly Fashion Week last week, and he was exhausted. But, you know, he loves styling, and it's also what we do. Like, we style ourselves every time we go out and do things like this. So it's been fun. And then these are pretty much majority of all the brands that we've worked with. A lot of events that we do, whether it's 420 friendly, we partner with a lot of women-owned, POC-owned. That is our main thing. Herb, just recently we flew out to California to do a floral activation. That was amazing. We do a lot of pop-ups at vintage shops throughout Philly. So Sweet Peel Vintage is a shop located in South Philly. We did a window display for them, and we also were able to sell all of our like boutique stuff. So that was really cool. So we do a lot of that. And that's it.
Yes.
That's us in a nutshell. Go Birds.